Hi, my name is Stella Hong and I will be making a Japanese cheesecake today. So first, I have separated the eggs and placed the egg whites and egg yolks into different mixing bowls, and I placed the egg whites into the refrigerator. Right now, I am breaking the egg yolks and setting them aside for later. Next, I have added 130 grams of cream cheese and 85 milliliters of milk into a measuring cup. And now I am melting the cream cheese and later butter using a bain-marie method, which is a type of technique used to heat substances to a controlled temperature and prevent overheating. And I have added 40 grams of butter into the measuring cup. And this is an endothermic reaction because the intermolecular forces are overcome and the cream cheese and butter goes from solid to liquid phase with added heat. To prevent overheating of butter, I decided to take it out of the double boiler and use the excess heat left on the measuring cup to further melt the butter. Now I'm adding the egg yolk that was set aside from earlier and the cream cheese mixture together in a larger mixing bowl. Next, I'm going to be adding 25 grams of cake flour into the mixture, and this is very important because a Japanese cheesecake is a little bit different from any other cheesecake because it is a hybrid of a souffle and cheesecake that is stabilized with flour, and so the egg would not hold up without the addition of the flour, so it is a must. And I'm also adding 10 grams of cornstarch for the same reason, and I have used a sifter to prevent clumping. Now that the batter is almost done, I have brought the egg whites out of the refrigerator and I'm going to be talking about the most important scientific phenomenon that happens in the making of a Japanese cheesecake. A key to making the fluffiest Japanese cheesecake is a technique called meringue, which is basically beating egg whites. First of all, it is important to note that an egg white is made up of water and proteins, and the egg yolk is made up of fat. And so, when you whisk egg whites, you create foam by adding air, which creates bubbles, which are the foam. And at the same time, the wires of the whisk cause some of the proteins to unravel, which is called unfolding or denaturing. Beating the egg whites break the chemical bonds that hold the chains in its original form, allowing them to uncoil into their original long strands. When you heat these captured air bubbles, they expand as the gas inside them is also heated, and these bubbles cannot stand on their own, and that's why sugar is added. Sugar is actually a very important element in this process because adding sugar to foamy egg whites creates a thick and glossy foam, and this remains even after you stop whisking. So this helps more proteins gather on the surface of the air bubbles, making the bubbles even more stable. Now that the batter and the meringue is done, I'm mixing them together and I am mixing into thirds, and the first, for 2/3 of the batter, I am mixing it with the whisk, and for 1/3 I am mixing it with the spatula in order to keep the moist and smooth texture of the cheesecake. And now I am adding the batter into the spring foam pan. Now I'm using a stick to swirl in the batter to remove air bubbles. Now I'm adding hot water to a larger pan, and this is done to keep the moist texture of the cheesecake. And now I'm adding it to the oven. Baking at a high temperature, like somewhere along the 300s, is adding heat, and this is an endothermic reaction because the intermolecular forces are overcome. Here is the final product. Thank you for watching.